Have you ever felt like you're trapped in a cycle of suffering? Like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to find a way out of the pain and frustration? Well, let me tell you a little story that might just change your perspective. Once upon a time, in a small, dusty village, lived an old woman who saw beauty where others saw flaws. Every day, she would carry 2 large pots to the river to fetch water. One pot was perfect, but the other had a small crack in it. By the time she returned home, the cracked pot was always half empty. For 2 long years, this went on daily. The perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, full to the brim, but the poor, cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection, miserable that it could only do half of what it was made for. One day, feeling overwhelmed by its failure, the cracked pot spoke to the old woman. "I am so ashamed of myself," it cried. "Because of this crack in my side, I leak water all the way back to your house. You do all this work, but because of my flaw, you only get half the reward. You should just throw me away." The old woman smiled gently and said, "Did you notice the flowers on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? I have always known about your flaw, so I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walk back, you have watered them. For 2 years, I have been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my table. Without you being just the way you are, there would not be this beauty to grace the house." This isn't just a story. It's a profound truth about how we see our lives. The old woman's wisdom shows us how to stop suffering. Suffering doesn't come from our circumstances, like the crack in the pot. It comes from our perception of those circumstances. The pot suffered because it focused only on what it lacked, on its flaw. It compared itself to the perfect pot and found itself wanting. How often do we do this in our own lives? We look at our own cracks, our weaknesses, our past mistakes, our perceived failures, and we let them define us. We believe these flaws are the source of our misery, the reason we can't be happy or successful. But what if, like the old woman, we could see the purpose in our imperfections? Suffering begins to fade when we stop judging ourselves for being broken and start looking for the flowers we are, unintentionally watering along our path. The first step to breaking free from suffering is to accept our cracks not as liabilities, but as a unique part of our journey. Now, let's talk about how gratitude can transform your life. Imagine if the cracked pot, instead of focusing on the water it lost, had been grateful for the journey. What if it was thankful for the old woman who chose to carry it every day, for the sun on its clay, for the very path it traveled? This shift in focus is the essence of gratitude. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the bad things. It's about actively seeking and acknowledging the good, no matter how small. When you are in a state of suffering, your mind is wired to see only what's wrong. It's a survival instinct, constantly scanning for threats and problems. But gratitude retrains your brain. It forces you to look for the flowers on the side of the road. When you begin to practice gratitude, something magical happens. Your entire reality starts to shift. You might be grateful for the roof over your head, for a warm cup of coffee, for the friend who sent you a text. These small acts of recognition begin to build a new mental foundation. Instead of a foundation of lack and complaint, you build one of abundance and appreciation. The cracked pot's flaw had a beautiful, unintended consequence. What are the unintended positive outcomes in your life that you've been overlooking because you've too focused on the cracks? Perhaps a difficult job taught you resilience. Maybe a failed relationship taught you what you truly need in a partner. Gratitude unlocks this hidden value. It transforms your perception of your past and present, turning what you once saw as a source of pain into a lesson, a strength, or an unexpected beauty. Your life is not defined by its imperfections, but by how you choose to see them. Gratitude is the lens that allows you to see the garden you've been growing all along. On the other side of gratitude is its poison, complaining. Let's be honest, we all do it. But constant complaining is how you keep yourself stuck. When the cracked pot complained, it wasn't just expressing sadness, it was reinforcing its own identity as a failure. Complaining is a cycle. You feel bad, so you complain. Complaining focuses your mind on the negative, which makes you feel worse, so you complain more. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You are telling the universe, and more importantly, telling yourself, that your life is defined by problems. You become a magnet for negativity because that is the energy you are constantly putting out. Think about it. When you complain, you are giving all your power away to the thing you are complaining about. You are saying, this situation, this person, this flaw has control over my happiness. Complaining keeps you in a passive state. You are the victim, and the world is happening to you. It prevents you from taking action because your focus is on the problem, not the solution. The cracked pot could have spent another 2 years moaning about its leak. But what good would that have done? It was only when it opened up and voiced its shame that the old woman could offer a new perspective. Constant complaining closes you off from new perspectives. It walls you up in your own misery. People may listen at first, but eventually they will tire of the negativity. More importantly, you will tire yourself out. It is emotionally, mentally, and physically draining to live in a state of perpetual complaint. You are stuck in the mud, and every complaint you utter is like pressing your own foot deeper into it. You are reinforcing the belief that you are powerless, that your cracks are all that matter, and that you are destined to be half empty forever. So, how do you break the cycle of suffering? How do you go from being the complaining pot to the pot that sees the flowers? The first step is awareness. You must catch yourself in the act of complaining, in the spiral of negative thought. When you feel that frustration rising, that urge to point out what's wrong, just pause, take a breath, ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is this complaint moving me towards a solution, or is it just keeping me stuck in the problem? This simple act of pausing breaks the automatic pattern. It creates a space between the trigger and your reaction, and in that space lies your freedom. Next, you must consciously choose a different path. This is where the wisdom of the old woman comes in. You must actively look for the flowers. Instead of complaining about the crack, find something, anything, to be grateful for. This is the practical application of gratitude we talked about. When you catch yourself thinking, I hate my job, challenge that thought. Find one thing about your job you can be grateful for. Maybe it's a paycheck that pays your bills. Maybe it's a coworker you enjoy talking to. Maybe it's just the fact that it gets you out of the house. It doesn't matter how small it is. The point is to disrupt the negative pattern and introduce a positive one. This rule applies to every aspect of your life. Your life is not a coincidence. It's a reflection of your own focus. What you give your attention to is what grows. If you constantly focus on your cracks, on your suffering, on your complaints, then that is what your life will be filled with. But if you learn to look for the flowers, to practice gratitude, to see the hidden purpose in your imperfections, your life will transform. It won't happen overnight. It's a practice, like the old woman walking to the river every single day. But each day you choose gratitude over complaint. You are watering a new garden in your mind. You are breaking free from the prison of your own perception. So the next time you feel like you're broken, remember the cracked pot. Your flaws might just be watering a field of flowers you haven't noticed yet. Thank you so much for joining us on MoraLife Tales. If this story resonated with you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more stories to guide your way. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep projecting your best self into the world.